Hello and welcome. Chris from Missouri here, bringing you another video about vintage baseball cards. This is my Thursday night video that I'm going to be doing for a while of my players that I call just a bit outside. There are players that are not in the Hall of Fame right now, but they're close. And I'm showing their rookie cards. Now, some of these players will never get in the Hall of Fame. I don't believe they deserve it. Some of them might. For instance, there's a few of them that I've shown so far that might actually get in over the weekend. They're actually on the Hall of Fame ballot, the classic ballot, and let's hope it changes a little bit. But these are rookie cards of some really, really good players that I have and that I'm collecting, and so I just want to show you the rookie cards and maybe bring their career back in light a little bit. Just give them a little bit more credit, and there's some that maybe you have forgotten, or some that you knew were really good, or some you even think belong in the Hall of Fame. Please share your opinion when I show the cards down below. Let me know if you think they belong in the Hall of Fame or not, and I'll share you mine as we go. But this just a little bit outside collection that I'm doing is the top 5 players at each position that's not in the Hall of Fame. And at the end of all this, if I collect them all, I'll show you one big tabletop showcase. But let's get started. This first card that I'm going to show you is a rookie card in 1961. This guy was a center fielder, mainly for the Los Angeles Dodgers. He was on a couple World Series teams, and he was a great defender, great center fielder. Hard to win Golden Gloves back then because they took outfielders. Like 3 outfielders got Golden Gloves, and not just at each position. And so it was tough to get one if you were good. And this guy was good. He could cover a lot of ground. I'm just going to go ahead and show you his card and just tell you some stuff about him. So what I'm showing you is a 1961 Willie Davis. Now that 61 rookie card, it's a little dark in here, I'm sorry. That 61 rookie card is going to fit, if he ever makes it in the Hall of Fame, fits real well with the other 61 rookies like Ron Santo and just that group. They're not. It's not loaded with top. 61's not loaded with top tier Hall of Famers. And if Willie Davis ever gets in, he's not going to be a top tier Hall of Famer. Now, Willie, he was, his WAR is not the greatest in the world. It's up there. I have him as one of my top center fielders that's not in. He had over a 60 WAR, had over 1,000 RBIs. He stole almost 400 bases. He was a Gold Glover about 3 times, an All-Star a couple times. Do I think he belongs in the Hall of Fame? Man, the more I study about Willie Davis, the less I think he belongs in. There was a time I thought he would be considered by an errors committee of some sort. The next card I'm going to show you is a 1970s card, and it has 2 really, really good players on it. And the first one I'm going to tell you about, I actually think he belongs in the Hall of Fame. And this card, it has a pitcher and a catcher on it, 1970, Vida Blue and Tenace. There it is. Pretty card. Now, I actually think Vida Blue could have a shot to get in the Hall of Fame, but people are going to have to forgive him of some of his past sins. See, he was a really good pitcher. At the age of 21, he won the Cy Young and the MVP award. He had a ERA that year under 2, but still lost 8 games, but he won 24. He did have 8 shutouts, and he was just great, and he was an all-star a bunch of times for a pitcher. Let's see. I'm looking on here. He's All-Star 6 times, 6-time All-Star. He was in talks of Cy Young for a long time, and I actually got to see him play. I got to see it set real close to home plate one time, the season for the Royals, and he was a pitcher for the Royals at that time. And I actually saw them carry him off the field. But when he was warming up, man, that ball just sounded different for me when it hit the glove. And he was a little bit older at the time, but his career was cut short, one with an injury, but also he was suspended from baseball and served 80 days during his career in prison. And he actually made an all-star team, as he was an all-star in 71, and he was an all-star 10 years later. And I thought, his record, if you get on this Baseball Reference and you scroll down below, they have this stuff who you compared to throughout your career. And he has some crazy names on there: Catfish Hunter, Don Drysdale, but also Clayton Kershaw, Kevin Brown, who both of them were great pitchers. And then when he was 30 and 31, they compared him to Steve Carlton. Now, he was one of the greatest left-hand pitchers of all time. He played for some really good teams, so his record was good. He won over 200 games, and he had a high winning percentage. And then he also had 2,100 strikeouts for a short career. Really, he played 17 years, but his last 4 years he shouldn't have been playing. And I don't know if he'll ever get in because he was part of a big investigation about cocaine, and he actually, got arrested for trafficking cocaine or possession of cocaine during that time period. But man, during his playing time, he was one of my favorite players. So that, my friends, is Vida Blue. Now, if you look at the bottom of that card right there, you'll see Gene Tenace. Now, Gene Tenace, I've always thought of him as a Hall of Famer to be. And I think maybe it's because I was molding my mind in the early 70s, when they were playing in the World Series, and he was in the World Series, I believe, 3 times. He was relevant 2 of those times, really relevant. He batted behind Reggie Jackson, and I think he was even most valuable player of the World Series one year. But you look, and his WAR is 47, and he did have about 8 solid years as a catcher. But he wasn't born a catcher. They made him a catcher when he was in the minor leagues. He could hit the ball. And make contact. Matter of fact, he carried that throughout his life. He almost walked more times than he struck out. He led the league in walks a couple times. He took a lot of pitches. You should look up his stats, because his on-base percentage, today he would be a leadoff hitter. I mean, his career on-base percentage is either 400 or right around there, close to it. And 6 times in his career, his on-base percentage was over 400. And I think 10 times or 11 times it was over 380. So he did get on base a lot, and he played. And what may get him in the Hall of Fame, and I'm betting it won't, is the fact that he played on some World Series teams. He won an MVP in a World Series, and he was good. But I do not think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. The next player I want to tell you about is the 1965 rookie card. And this guy played on 2 teams. And he is not on my top 25 list, but I want to talk to you about his card because he left a really big imprint on baseball in 2 towns, New York and Philadelphia. And in 1965, he was a rookie, and he was He was on 2 World Series teams, and if I tell you the pose, and if you're a vintage guy like me, you're going to know who I'm talking about. But he got the last batter out in the 80 World Series, and he jumps up in the air like this, and the catcher holding him in his hands, and that's none other than Tug McGraw. Tug McGraw played for the Mets and played for the Phillies, and he was a reliever for a long time. Now, he was a really good reliever. His reliever stats in today's world leave a little bit to be desired if you're thinking about being in the Hall of Fame. So I don't think he'll ever get in the Hall of Fame. But I think he'll be remembered for a long time, even longer than some of those that are in the Hall of Fame. He was witty as can be, and he was asked one time on TV, I believe on TV, if he preferred grass or artificial turf. And he said, I don't know. I've never smoked artificial turf. He was just that witty. Now, he was a reliever for a long time. For some reason, he's got a complete game in the middle of his career. I'd like to know that story. But he was a great player, but probably not strong enough to be in the Hall of Fame. Now, I want you to look at this card, though. If you look at the top right up there, you'll see a player, Ron Swoboda. And I challenge you to do this. I challenge you to Google Ron Swoboda World Series and watch, it's about a 26-second play where he makes a diving catch with a runner on third and a runner on first. If it would have got by him, the game would have been over. The runner from first would have scored, but instead he caught it. The runner from third did tie it up, but the Mets went on to win that game. And I'm telling you, if it's not the greatest line drive catch you ever did see, it's got to be in top 5 because it's just beautiful. So Google Ron Swoboda, and you'll see how perfect it was. Now, I'm going to try to show all these up here if I can. Just take a look at these cards. Now, out of all those players that I showed, I believe Vida Blue would be the only one that would have a chance to get in the Hall of Fame. Those are 3 cool cards. And I love getting out rookie cards. I love collecting rookie cards. I love this series called Just a Little Bit Outside because it challenges me to pick up some cards that are not very expensive, but it's more rookie cards, and it helps bring back memories of these players. And it helps educate me on some of these players that I never would have thought about had I not started this series. So please stay with me on some of these because I'm going to do these on Thursday nights throughout the winter for sure. And I'm going after this set this set, and I'll share that once I get all the cards. I'm just a few cards away, so I'm going to eventually share them, and then I'll show you all of them in a tabletop showcase. Leave some comments down below if you think any of these guys deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. I know there's some guys I'm missing out on, but feel free to communicate with me. Now, guys, I'm having a great time. Thank you so much for paying attention and watching. But remember, this is just a hobby. Collect what you like.